There's been so much fear, a lot of hysteria around what Donald Trump has been doing. And I just love looking at your takes of when you do updates of what Donald Trump is doing on your social media platforms, because it puts a little bit of perspective back in the conversation. But what do you make of the media's coverage of this trade war and also Trump's first 3 months in office?
Oh my gosh. I mean, where do we really begin? The Australian media landscape and also elements of the American landscape is so dominated by hyperbole and hysteria. And it's been this case not only over the last few months with Donald Trump, but really for the last 5 years with everything that's gone on worldwide. There's a real disconnect with providing factual, on the ground information about what's actually occurring. And it's just this real sort of negative agenda. The Trump derangement syndrome and the Trump panic seems to precede any sort of common sense. And it's a wonder that why people are scared and panicking, because there's been no real involvement from any of these media commentariats to actually give a balance and perspective argument into the mainstream. So it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to change, does it? But let's look at the Democrats.
No,
they
never.
continue to dive in terms of popularity. Their attack lines are all over the place. And we just witnessed Bernie Sanders ranting about Donald Trump on stage at Coachella. So that's an insight into where they're heading and where their strategy is at. But what do you see for the Democrats and why are they struggling so much, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, where is the Democrat Party really getting their support from? It's not from the fringe lunatics, to be very fair. I mean, when we look at the Democrat support within the United States, a lot of it is coming from the older generation at the moment that I personally believe still have the opinion that this is the Democrat Party from the 1980s and the 1990s, because that's what the mainstream media and the propagandists tell them to think. But who are the Democrat Party if they're not inciting a race war, a gender war, a class war, or a geopolitical war? Like, what do they actually stand for? Mainstream America understands that maybe they don't have their backs anymore. The working class of America is certainly swinging towards the Republican Party and their policies. And you can't really beat someone who's an economic populist and also a common sense populist like Donald Trump. I mean, where are the leaderships within the Democrat Party right now? I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see over the next few years, not only who starts getting a louder voice in the United States, but also who's going to be their candidate for 2028 at the moment, because there's no suitable or viable candidates right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. No one at all. In terms of revolution that we spoke about at the start of this interview, the MAHA movement's also underway in the US. RFK Jr. says that by September, they'll be able to announce the causes of autism. That's caused a lot of hysteria by mainstream media outlets when they cover RFK Jr. But what's your sense of where the MAHA movement's at, where it's going? Will RFK Jr., I suppose, be able to achieve what he says he will?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally very excited by the MAHA movement. I'm very interested in not only what RFK has said over the last few years, but especially where he's projecting to take healthcare industry within the United States. I mean, no one can deny that there's some serious health issues, not only within the Western world, but especially within the United States directly. I mean, there's a massive increase in chronic illness. There's an obesity epidemic. There's a mental health epidemic. And America's spending more per capita on healthcare than any other country in the world, and not getting results from that. So I think in terms of the MAHA movement, and especially when we look at RFK with autism, 4 to 5 months is going to be a very interesting timeline to see what he can come up with. But it really is getting the conversation started, because there clearly needs to be a revolution, not only in how we think about healthcare, but in terms of what is impacting everyone day by day. I mean, I think there will be a very interesting journey there to really sort of address some underlying issues, maybe within the environment, and especially within the food and the chemicals and additives that are included in the mainstream sort of food, and also fluoride within water. Like, there's a lot of issues that I think the MAHA movement's going to address. Using autism as a very dominant strategy at the moment, I mean, it's a very important issue, especially for those parents that unfortunately have to deal with this directly. But it's going to get the conversation started, and I think that's incredibly important, because it just simply hasn't happened for decades, if ever, really.
Absolutely. David, your live events are returning for 2025. You'll be back travelling around Australia, and I'm so excited. Can you just remind us how we can follow you to make sure that we don't miss out on tickets?
Well, first of all, Gabriella, I hope to see you there in Sydney. But for anyone interested in coming to my live tour, I'll be touring every capital city in Australia, including Darwin and the Gold Coast. And tickets are going to come on sale in September 1, and the tour is going to be happening in October and November. But you can definitely follow along on my social media and on my website, David the Medium, where I'm going to be posting all updated information in due course.
I will absolutely be there. Wouldn't miss it for the world. David Stevens, also known as David the Medium, thank you so much for coming back on Power Hour.